looks like. Step two, completing the application. When you complete the application, there is a surefire sign that you have successfully done that. And that is going to be you receive an email immediately from the Wisconsin DOT saying, we've received your application. And I'll show you what that looks like. Then after that, all you do is essentially wait for your approval email. Now, many people receive their approval email and their application email minutes within each other, if not hours. A lot of folks are going to apply for the grant on Monday and be approved on Monday. I would say that's probably about 85, 90% of all participants who are applying for this grant. Everyone else who applies for the grant, you're going to receive an approval within 5 days or a denial. And we'll go into details about, how does that approval work? How does that denial work? That kind of deal. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. And we got folks in the waiting room if we can let them in. All right. So remember when I mentioned when you apply for the state grant, after you apply, you should receive a confirmation email immediately. That confirmation email should be from no reply at wisconsin.accessgov.com. And it's going to have a very simple subject line: driver education application. Driver education application. And it's going to read something very similar to what my screen shows. Hello, thank you for submitting your application for the driver's education grant. We received your application, and it may say, due to popularity, we are nearing capacity. That is completely normal, but make sure you have that email. If you don't have that email, I would consider that you did not successfully apply. Okay, so if you don't have that email, I'll consider that as a not successful application submission. So you want to make sure you have that email. Second, you're going to receive a second email that will look very similar to the first. It's going to be from a no reply address, this time at dot.wisconsin.gov. But it's going to be very short, simple, and to the point. It's going to just say hello. It's going to have your student's name, and then it's going to say thank you for your application to the driver education grant. Your application has been approved. When it is approved, you're going to have two coupon codes, one for classroom, one for behind the wheel. You're going to need that to enroll at Crash Course or any other driving school that you decide to enroll with. When you are enrolling with Crash Course, it is very important that the name that is on this email matches the name that you submit to us on the application. So for example, if my email is, or if my name is Jeremy Kane on the state application, but I enroll in Crash Course as Jeremy Scott, those two things have to match. So you need to enroll as Jeremy Kane. All right. Same thing for even if you have, junior or the third, or you have two last names, whatever you provide to the state, you need to provide that to us. So in this example, I believe it says John Joe Smith. You need to enroll as John Joe Smith. Now, if you have a secondary last name of Scott, we can fix that on the back end, but you enroll as John Joe Smith, and then you can let us know, hey, it's actually John Joe Smith Scott, and we can go ahead and get that updated for you. Awesome. All right, give me some thumbs up if people are following me. It's kind of weird just rambling off to myself, and I don't have my chat open. Awesome, awesome, great, great. And like I said, if you have a good question in mind, drop it in the chat. We will definitely come back to it. I just have a lot of information I have to get to. Awesome. Oh, thank you. I got my chat up. Awesome. All right, so step three, you've applied for the grant. You have your approval email. You have your approval codes. Now is the fun part. You're going to enroll in Crash Course. When you are enrolling in Crash Course, and I'm going to share our website here. Can you guys see our website now, or is it just sharing that tab? It's not sharing anything? Okay, let me get this shared. It's saying share settings. I don't believe I'm a host anymore. I think something was clicked on here. Oh, there we go. Great. Okay. Can you guys share? You guys can see my screen again? See my screen? Yes. Awesome. Great. See the website? Yes. Awesome. Great. All right. So now that you are approved for the grant, now what you're going to do is you're going to go back to our website, crashcoursewi.com, and there's the giant green button. That green button says enroll with grant. It's really important. You want to select enroll with grant because if you go to just explore programs and you select any of these, it's going to go ahead and you're going to have to pay. It's going to be expecting you to enter in a credit card number. Remember, the grant is paying for your tuition, so you don't want to do that. So we're going to hit enroll with grant, and then we're going to hit enroll with approval code. You know you're at the right one because it says limited spots, enroll with grant, and the amount is $0. You want to fill out all this information. This is what I was talking about when I said make sure the information that you give to the state of Wisconsin is the exact same information that you provide to Crash Course. Because if those two things don't match, your application is going to get kicked back. So you'll fill out all this basic information on your student, basic demographics, name, phone number, what high school, all that type of jazz. If your high school is not selected, you can go ahead and just select any high school, and we can get that changed for you back on the back end. Just send us a text message or an email, no big deal. For the parent or guardian information, same thing. Make sure that you guys are using personal email addresses. You don't want to be using email addresses that are from school or necessarily from work, just because we tend to see a lot of those larger organizations. It will block those out external emails from coming through. So you want to make sure of that. When it's time for you to get to the end of this application, it's going to simply ask for your behind the wheel code and your classroom code. Before I get too much into that, I want to go back to this screen right here when we're applying for the grant. And is this sharing over properly? Okay, great. When you are applying for the grant, it is very, 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 very important that you put in email addresses to the state. You provide email addresses to the state, just like I was saying for the crash course application, that you have access to, that are your personal emails. And you want to make sure you're checking your spam folder. You want to make sure that you have storage. I know this sounds silly that I'm saying it, but we have at least 25 people every grant cycle who don't even realize they were approved for a grant because they didn't get any emails. And turns out their email was out of storage, which I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently it's a thing. So delete some of that garbage out of there. I mean, we don't need a million emails from McDonald's. So you want to make sure you are using an email address that you have access to. And the first sign that you are on the right path is that you should get that confirmation email from step one. You should receive that confirmation email. What is included at Crash Course with the driver's ed grant? So at Crash Course, you're going to receive 30 hours of classroom, 6 hours of driving, and 6 hours of observation. So what does that look like? The first step is going to be classroom. Your child to have access to our online classroom. There are 15 chapters. Each chapter is 2 hours long, and they can complete one chapter per calendar day. That's state law. They only can do 2 hours per day. Each of our chapters are 2 hours. So what does that mean? That means they'll complete classroom first. They have up to 120 days to complete it, but they can complete it in as little as 15. After classroom, they will take their learner's permit at their local DMV, or if you're at a partner school, we will be hosting permit sessions at those respective schools. School reps will be reaching out. Then after that, you have your permit, you've taken the classroom. Now it's ready to get to the fun part, is what a lot of the teams look at it as, is going to be the actual driving. How does that work? Every time your child goes on a driving lesson with Crash Course, that lesson is going to be 2 hours long. It's going to be made up of 1 hour of driving and 1 hour of student observation. That's when they're watching another student from the back seat being taught how to drive. So that way you can kind of say, okay, I'm on lesson 1. This person that I'm watching is on lesson 4. Let me see what they're working on and how it's being explained to them. I can even ask questions from the back seat. So that way, when I get to lesson 4, I'm that much more prepared. And then after you've completed all of that, the classroom, the behind the wheel takes place over the student's 6 month holding period from the state of Wisconsin. So what is that holding period? What am I referring to? If you're under the age of 18, you must hold your permit for a minimum of 6 months. And you must be 16 years old. So whichever one's the longest is going to determine your holding period. After you've completed all of that, you are then eligible to take your state road test at your local DMV. If you pass that state road test, you will receive your probationary driver's license. And then that is when your child will be able to go out driving on their own. All right. So at Crash Course, it's really important that if a student or family wants to participate in our driver's education program, that we have access in a program for you. So I just want to go over a couple of backup options. We've worked really hard here. The team has worked extremely hard over the last 3 months to build up this program. I mean, our first plan is to get you approved for the state grant. Our backup plan is to get you approved on a affordable payment plan so that way you can at least still participate in the program but make payments that are more manageable for your individual case. But our backup plan has a backup plan, and that is we launched Crash Course Cares. Crash Course Cares is a in-house program that we are offering where we are taking a pot of funds and making it available for full ride scholarships for families who are just outside of the grant threshold, or tuition assistance. And all of our payment plans are zero interest. It's nothing like that. It's just dividing everything up by 4 or 5 monthly payments. So we have some people in the program who are paying $75 a month, some that are paying $35 a month. We have tuition assistance for full ride or partial, all that kind of thing. We deal with it on a case by case basis, and we also look at the entire picture. So it's individual, it's not just a blanket thing. And we try to help as many families as possible. I think right now we are at about 75 people who have been approved through that program. Our goal is to reach at least 200 by the end of the year. So if you are denied for the grant, what we would want you to do is first see why you were denied. A denial email will say why you are denied. It could be for income. It could be for little things like you're denied because you are already approved and you just need to use that approval. I've seen that happen quite a few times. It could be we couldn't find your information or match up something, or we need additional information. There's a possibility to turn a denial from the state of Wisconsin to an approval. So make sure when you get that email that says denial, don't just say, "Oh, forget it. I'm not even going to read the rest." See what that reason is. Of the denials I have personally seen have been income threshold not met. So parents may have made just a little bit too much, or you already have been approved and you need to use that approval. So that's what I have seen a lot of. So you want to make sure you read through that. But we do offer our internal plan A and plan B, or backup plan A and backup plan B, through our Crash Course Cares program. And I'm going to quickly show you guys how to apply for that. And we'll send you emails, of course, if you are in our system. Is this showing the proper page? Awesome. So our Crash Course Cares program, you just go right to our main website, crashcoursewi.com, hit the menu, and you hit Crash Course Cares. You can learn a little bit more about the program. You apply, we review it, and we send out our own approval codes that will allow you to enroll in our program. What will you do? You just hit apply. Application is extremely short. We're just going to ask for parent info, student info, household information, program and grant information, financial need, previous aid, and then you review and sign it. It literally takes about 5, 10 minutes to fill this application. Now, it's completely digital. You don't have to go back and forth via email or anything like that. All right, let's go back to my other screen. All right, I know that was a lot of information. I know that was a lot of information. So now we're going to get to what I enjoy most about having these Zoom sessions, and that is question answer Q&A. So that way we can make sure that we are covering everything that you have been thinking about and you need to know about, honestly. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. How this will work is I believe there should be like a hand waving button, and we'll just kind of accept you and go from there.
start with the chat.
Yeah, we'll start with the chat. No problem.
Can I apply for more than one kid twins, siblings?
100%. You can apply for multiple students for the grant. What I would highly recommend though is applying for them separately. And unless you are, there's two types of people, right? There's some who really are good with email, and there's some where like email is not their thing. If email is not your thing, please use two separate emails, or really, yeah, two separate emails for the applications, because they will look, they'll come in right after each other if you use the same email. And I've seen that a lot. I've seen parents have twins, same exact situation. Twin A and twin B both got approved, but parents swore they only got an approval for twin A, and they waited too long, and the approval for twin B just expired. But it was right there in the email. It's two separate emails, but the way the email system clients do, it's one after another, so you can overlook it very easily. But yes, you can apply for multiple kids in the household. There are two separate applications though. So you're going to do one state application for student A, finish that, get your confirmation email for student A, go back, do the same thing for student B. So everything is going to be double. All right.
One from the chat. Will everyone who applies get a voucher or approved?
No, and it bothers me to say, but no, but that's why Crash Course and the team here is doing the work that we're doing now to get you the strongest possibility of getting that application submitted and getting that application approved. So we're having this Zoom session to answer these type of questions. What is important on the state application? Really, the most important is making sure you send it to emails that you have access to. You receive that confirmation email, and that you are filling out all the application information as thoroughly as possible. And the application for the state is only asking for basic demographics. It's asking for first name, last name, parent, first name, last name, home address, phone number, emails. Emails. Please make sure we have access to that. And it's just asking for basic. It's going to ask for a driver's license number. Do you have to submit it with driver's license number? No. If you don't have a driver's license or you don't have it, you don't have to submit it with it. Is it asking for social security number? Yes, but it is not a required field. So don't just not do the application because you go, oh, it asked for a social and I didn't know what to put in, so I just forgot it. No, you can still apply. Go ahead and apply. All right, what's the next question?
Use this grant for other driver ed programs?
Yes. So the Wisconsin State Grant Program is statewide. You just have to go to an approved driver education provider, such as Crash Course. We would like for you to come to our program, but we understand some people may be out of our service area. I think last Zoom we had folks all the way in Fond du Lac, Green Bay, places I've never heard of before up north. So that's completely fine. Now, the Crash Course Cares applications and those approvals, those are only able to be used at Crash Course.
Barbara Holland has raised their hand. I'm going to ask them to unmute.
Hey, good afternoon. So my question is, because I came in on the part where you were talking about applying with the grant, you were saying that part. So when I'm looking at the bottom, the question and answer part, it says grants open on the 13th. So is that the only time that you can apply with the grant, or how? I think I'm a little confused on that part.
Yes, Barbara, thank you for that question. Very, very good question. So the grant application does not open up to 9 a.m. on the 13th. You only can apply for the grant when it is open. But here is the conundrum that a lot of folks find themselves in. This grant is statewide. There are over 16,000 eligible teens at any given moment in the state of Wisconsin who would qualify for this grant. All right, I just want that to sink in a little bit. There are over 16,000 who will qualify for this grant. With that being said, that grant link in that application is only open until they have exhausted the funds, if that makes sense. So, for example, we've had grant cycles that were open for one day. that were hours, 10 hours, 11 hours. We've had some that were open for 48 hours. Typically, these grant windows are only 24 to 48 hours. 24 to 48 hours. That would be the only window that I would prepare to have. One other thing that Barbara kind of reminded me to mention to you all. At Crash Course, what we do is when that grant application opens up at 9 a.m., myself, several other people from the team will go and make sure that application link is working. I know I'm glad parents are joining us. Teens, you might be like, "Oh my gosh, she's talking like an old man." But let me just give you this analogy. This grant application is almost like trying to be caller number 9 on a radio station. It is literally like trying to be caller number 9 from in the 90s. So when you're dialing and it's just busy tone, or they're saying caller number 7, you hang up and call again, you have to be that persistent when this application opens up. So what we do at Crash Course is we try to do some of that for you by at 9 a.m. I'm checking it. We got over 50 other devices that are checking it. And if that site is just not even pulling up, we don't even send you the link yet. We hold back that link. We're going to hold that link back because we don't want to get you frustrated. We don't want you to go to that link and then say, I tried twice and I said, forget it, I'll come back. And then you come back 3 days later and it's done. So we're going to hold that link until we have tested it at least 50 loads consecutively, meaning that we can load it up on 50 different devices 50 times to make sure. Then we send you that link. When that link is working, you get that link in text message and email. Fill out that application immediately. Now, if you, for whatever reason, do get to the link and it's just spooling or it's moving really slow and it just doesn't load, caller number 9. Keep trying. Don't give up, because if you give up, that's only hurting you. Someone else is going to take your spot. All right, what's the next question?
Stephanie has risen their hand. I'm gonna unmute them.
Awesome. I see we got a couple more questions.
My question is, I'm helping my friend help her son with this program. And my understanding is that he's in high school, but he's homeschooled. And I know it's going to ask to list a high school, and you said that reach out to you. If will he even qualify if he's homeschooled? Since technically he doesn't get reduced lunch, even though his mom's income will qualify him.
Yes, Stephanie, that's a great question. Two things. First thing is yes and yes. That's the short version. The long version is yes. If his high school is not listed on our application, yes, you can just select any high school. We can get that updated on our end. The state, I believe, just allows you to type in the name of the high school. So you can type in, if it's like an online school, like eAchieve or something like that, you can type that in. If it's straight homeschool, type in homeschool. But the second thing that you mentioned that is really important, really, really important, remember the eligibility criteria is not they receive free or reduced lunch. It is eligible for free or reduced lunch. Because if I heard you correctly, what you're saying is he's homeschooled, so there is no, free or reduced program. But if he were at public school or traditional public school, he would qualify based off of her income. That's the key. So yes, he is eligible for free or reduced lunch. He's just in a program that doesn't offer it. And those are two separate things. So yes. I hope that answered your question.
From the chat, somebody asked, what is the class code?
Yeah, so the classroom code and the behind the wheel code are unique to you, and you're going to receive that after you have submitted your state application on Monday and you receive an approval email. Look, we are trying our absolute best to streamline these steps for you. Obviously, I can't control how the state's process is. So this is how I want you to look at it. 2-prong. Apply for the grant, get an email saying that they received your application immediately. Second prong, get an approval email from the state. That's going to have your approval code. It's going to have a classroom code in a behind the wheel code. And then third step, apply into Crash Course using that approval code. So that way you're able to start driver's ed and it's covered by that grant that you just applied for.
How do we know if we are approved?
Yes, the only way to know that you are approved is going to be via email. That's why I'm stressing so much to make sure on the state application and on Crash Courses registration and enrollment application, you submit email addresses that you have access to, that have space, that you monitor, that you can check, all of that, because there's no other way. It's so, I don't want to say so bad, but they mean business so much with this application as far as how you're going to get your approval codes is that if you were to call the DOT and go, hey, did I get approved? They'll say, yeah, you were approved. We emailed you over your approval email. And you say, okay, I didn't receive it. Can you give me my codes? They're going to say, I can resend it to your email. You have to get this via your email.
Can you skip the first step if you already have your permit?
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. For this state grant, you are eligible as long as you have not already completed a driver's ed program or paid for a driver's ed program, like for the part that you're asking the state to pay for. So I know it's a little confusing, but let me give you, I can break it down. This student that is asking this question, if they have their permit, they've already completed classroom. So that means that can they come to Crash Course and redo classroom? No, they cannot. They've already paid for that out of pocket. They've done it on their own. So now they're only eligible for behind the wheel. You can do behind the wheel. You can do classroom. Most of you will do both. But if you have already started behind the wheel somewhere else, or if you've already signed up and paid money, you are ineligible for the grant. So if you are taking classroom at Crash Course and you are on a payment plan, you've already paid $150, you are ineligible for the grant for the classroom portion. Okay.
Leilani has risen their hand. I'm going to ask them to unmute.
Awesome, Leilani, can you hear us? What's your question? Yeah, great, there you go.
Yeah, it wasn't letting me unmute. Sorry.
No
So
problem.
I think you said that at any given time there's 16,000 eligible students, and that there are about 200 grants. Do you know about on average how many folks apply?
Yeah. So I don't know how many people are approved or how many grants there are. That's an internal state thing. They don't directly share that with us. My guesstimate is that they are approving anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000 people statewide each grant cycle. That's my guesstimate, just from doing like the budget that I know that they have and how many times, 4 times a year, kind of doing the math that way. So yeah, did that answer your question? Awesome. Okay, great.
A Zoom user has raised their hand. I'm going to ask them to unmute.
Hi, so my question was, if I heard you correctly, that they only through the grant, they only approve 6 hours of behind the wheel.
No, the grant approves for both classroom and behind the wheel. That was just me answering someone's question on, hey, I've already done classroom somewhere. Can I do behind the wheel somewhere else and use the grant? Yes, you can do that.
Okay, so how many hours of behind the wheel will be approved through the grant?
Yep. So it does the state minimum 6 hours of driving. So 6 driving lessons.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Are the classroom sessions in person or online?
Classroom sessions are online at Crash Course. They are asynchronous, so you can do them around your own schedule. There are 15 classes. You can complete 1 class per calendar day. which is state law.
If my child already provided her school email, is there a way to change it or can she leave it as is?
So, hearing that statement makes me think that you're talking about the pre-registration you did with Crash Course. That is totally fine. You guys are on here, so that lets me know that you did receive it. When you do the state application on Monday, and let me see if this shares. Is my screen still sharing? Awesome. This is what the state application looks like right now because it's closed. This is what it looks like, nothing. But when you're on this website, so it has the Wisconsin implementing.gov, the Access Gov site. When you're filling out this application on Monday, please put in a personal email address and please make sure you have access to it and it has storage so it could actually receive new emails.
Will you send us a link or what is the link for us to apply for on that day?
Yep, we are going to email and text this link out first thing Monday after we have battle tested that it is working because we want to set you up for success. If anyone is on here who has never received a text message or email from us, please let us know in the chat so we can talk offline and make sure we get you connected so we can make sure you get those alerts and notifications.
When will we receive the behind the wheel code?
You'll receive the behind the wheel and classroom code together in your approval email from the state of Wisconsin. So remember, apply for the grant on Monday, get a confirmation email immediately. Then receive an approval or denial. If you get the approval, it's going to have a classroom code and a behind the wheel code.
Can you retry to join after the 120 days is over? I applied months ago, things happened, I didn't get to put the classroom codes in.
So these are two separate things that we're talking about. When you're in the Crash Course program, you have 120 days to complete classroom. When you get an approval from the state, that approval is only good for 9 months. After 9 months, that approval gets expired and you would have to go in and reapply. Yes. How long till you get an approval after submission? So immediately you should get we've received your submission email. And then for 80 to 90% of folks, they're going to get an approval within hours. Some folks, it could take up to 5 days. And I'm assuming it's like a manual review where the computer is not just approving because it couldn't match up some information.
Okay, I have Lasagna has raised their hand. I'm going to ask them to unmute.
And you may have shared this information, and I know this probably sounds weird, but I do not know if my son is eligible for reduced lunch. But now that you've said other things, I don't know. Do you know what the cap is as far as the income? Because if not, then I know we definitely will be able to go through your Crash Course Cares in-house and get on a payment plan, which sounds amazing as well.
Awesome. Great. So yeah, I'm going to share the USDA chart that says the income cap based off of the dependents and how many people are in the household. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's a chart that's probably about this big and it has a table. You got to match it up. It's individual. I know it starts at like 54,000 and some change for one adult and one child, and it kind of extrapolates from there. But yes, you are on the right track. If you don't qualify for the state grant and you are denied, please apply for Crash Course Cares.
That chart is also available on the state's website when you apply.
Yeah, it's hard for me to answer it because everyone's family circumstance is different, right? It would be easy if they just said, hey, if the household income is below this amount, but it's not. It's how many kids and all that kind of stuff. Because if you make, 70,000, but you have 6 kids, that's totally different from if you only have one child.
Lori has raised their hand. I'm going to ask them to unmute.
And I'm gonna, while we wait for Laura, I'm gonna blow through some of these questions I'm seeing in the chat. Bria, no, the behind the wheel and classroom must be done at a state approved driving school. However, as a parent or guardian, you are responsible to drive with your child for 50 hours, 10 of which of those hours are at night. So it's kind of working in conjunction with the driving school. So they drive with us for 6 hours of driving, 6 hours of observation, and they're supposed to be driving with their parent and or what the state refers to as sponsor for 50 hours. That's why they have that 6 month holding period, because it's designed to slow them down to make them practice. They're practicing with the licensed trained professionals, and they're also practicing with their parent or guardian to just get them more comfortable on the road for 50 hours. Lori, were you able to get unmuted?
Yeah, could you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Okay. I have a question. I'm trying to apply for my grandson. Is that okay for me to do that? And but he lives with his mother, and I'll use her information for everything, but it's okay for me to apply as like a guardian?
Yep, you would just have to make sure you have permission from her to be doing that, because she has to obviously sign off on it.
Right. Okay. And then my other question, Jeremy, I came in like 10 minutes late. Sorry about that.
No problem.
And regarding, it sounded like you go to I guess missed that first part about going in for the grant. You access it through Wisconsin Access Gov.
Yes, it's hosted on that website. Have you received any text messages or emails from us, Miss Lori?
Yes.
So on Monday, you're going to receive a text message and an email that's going to have a link directly to that application. You'll
okay.
click on that link and you'll apply right there.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
No problem. If I was to get the codes and then go to your website and apply for the grants. Yes. So once you get your approval, my screen should still be sharing. You just go to crashcoursewi.com, hit enroll with grant, hit enroll with approval code, and the form is right here. You just enroll using that. You can get started right away. There's always a ton of people who enroll, apply for the grant on Monday, get approved on Monday, finish their first classroom session on Monday, and they're rolling.
It looks like we have a few similar questions in the chat asking about the steps again on Monday. Can you go through what Monday morning looks like?
So what Monday morning looks like is at 9 a.m. the state is going to open up the application. If history is indicative of what this will look like, their website will not work. It's going to be spooling. Some people are going to get in, some people aren't. Once we see that website is stabilized, that application is loading up consistently, we are going to push out text messages and emails and post it on our website, the link to apply for that state grant application. Once you apply for that state grant application, you are going to make sure that you receive a confirmation email immediately. And I keep saying that, you guys, because look, I would love if you choose Crash Course to be your partner in this. But we are here to advocate for you to be successful, to get your driver's license and earn it the correct way. Okay. So if you apply for this grant and you don't hear back from the state, myself, several people on the team will take that approval email, or not approval email, that confirmation email, and go to bat for you on your behalf to the state. I've had to do it before. So that's why I keep saying, make sure you get that confirmation email from the state. If you get a confirmation and that grant closes on Monday evening, but you have a confirmation email saying that they received your application, a week passes and you haven't heard anything, we're going. We got it. We got the proof that you submitted it. Now we have something to stand on. Let's take it up all the way up to the top if we have to. And we're going to see if we're going to get you an approval or a denial. We can't do that if you didn't submit an application. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing we can do.
How do you use the grant when enrolling in a different driver's ed course / program? Would there be an option to use it?
Yeah, so I can't walk you through the steps of enrolling in any other driving school. What you can do is you can give them a call, and I'm sure they should be able to tell you how to enroll in their program. But to enroll in Crash Courses program, we've made it as easy as possible. You go right to our homepage, hit the big green button that says enroll with grant. It takes you to the screen that you see.
If my child completes the class portion, can I teach the behind the wheel?
Yes, I believe I just answered that for I think it was Miss Bria. You are required as a parent or guardian or sponsor to teach them for 50 hours, 10 of which are at night. behind the wheel hours that are part of that 30 hours of classroom, 6 hours of driving, 6 hours of observation must be completed at a licensed driving school. I know some states allow for parents to do that. Wisconsin is not one of them. You have to go to a state approved driving school for behind the wheel in classroom if you are under the age of 18.
I have an iPhone user with their hand up. I'm going to ask them to unmute.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me all right?
I actually had put the question in chat. So my student we signed him up for this program, got approved for grants, and just long story short, he attempted to come to class and you all told him that he wasn't registered.
Okay.
So why would something like that happen?
Yeah. So I would have to get his information. If you can drop that in the chat, or actually, Marissa, can you drop in the chat my direct line, and we can look up the account after this meeting. But I'm wondering if he's enrolled in our school because all of our classroom, for the most part, happens online. We do have some school partnerships where we have, but those are like one-offs. But 90% of all of our classroom happens online. So I'm wondering if maybe he's enrolled in a different school. But even if he is enrolled in a different school, if they're saying he's not registered, I can still, like I said, we're here to advocate for you. If we have to reach out to that school, see what's going on, but I also can reach out to the state and my contacts there and see if we can get him an approval and he can enroll at Crash Course. All right. Any other questions? Let's see. You will be in our program, you will be alerted when it's time to go to the DMV. You do the DMV for the permit test. This is for Bianca Vargas. Classroom first, after classroom, on our dashboard accounts that you guys will have with us, you will be able to access the documentation needed with my signature to go and get your learner's permit and take the permit test. You will download that off the online portal, take it into the DMV, take the permit test, and then he walks out with the permit. Then it's time for the fun part, behind the wheel. All right. Are there any other questions?
Not seeing anything else new. I have put the link. If you have not
I
received
see 2 questions, but
text messages or emails from our system, please visit the link that I have posted. My name is Marissa, in the chat. crashcoursewi.com/grant will get you on the notification list. That is how you get your text messages and email information.
okay. Awesome. I'm gonna get to is it Mina's iPhone? If you could unmute. Oh, or did they click off? Okay. Zoom user, and then Miss Barbara.
Hi, I'm a teen. So I just wanted to ask because I went on a website and I was filling out all the information and it has said enter your school and I did not see my school.
Okay. What school do you attend?
Howard Fuller.
Dr. Howard Fuller's not on our website. I can check it. That's one of our partnership schools. Were you already approved for the grant?
No, not yet.
Okay. So you wouldn't enroll in Crash Course yet anyway, just because you would need those approvals to get past that screen, and so that
Okay.
would cover your grant. But I'll double check that. I'm having them check that right now. But
Okay.
once you get that approval email, you're gonna go to our website, hit the green button, enroll with approval codes, and then you'll be all set there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right. Miss Barbara. Oh, can you ask her to unmute?
Sorry.
No problem.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you answered this already, but how often does this opportunity come about? So if you miss this opportunity, when is the next time?
Yeah, so the state has said that the last cycle for this year will be in October. The date is not released yet, but for my guesstimate, it will be the second to last week of October. I'm not looking at a calendar right now. Can you check that for me? But it will definitely be in October. And again, the age range is 14 and a half to 19 years old. 14 and a half to 19 years old. Now, if you've already completed high school and say you're 18 or say you're 19, you're already out of high school, just put the high school that you went to. Totally fine. If you are approved and your high school is not listed on our application when you're registering, go ahead and just select any high school and then just send us an email, text, or even a phone call. Say, hey, my school wasn't listed, and we can get that updated. We're adding a ton of schools. We have over 60 on there, but there's just so many schools. Barbara, Barbara or Mina, did you guys have two new questions? I'm sorry. I want to make sure before we wrap this up, I answer everyone's questions.
Where do we find the list of schools that accept the grant?
Yep. So most driving schools in Wisconsin do accept the grant. You just want to call them and ask them if they accept the grant or not.
Mina, I am going to ask you to unmute.
Okay, Barbara said no, she does not have a question. That's fine.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
I hear you great.
Okay, I'm not sure if you said this already. I'm kind of like at work listening.
Mhm.
A couple of things. Do we apply on the website for the grant now, or do we have to wait until Monday?
You have to wait till Monday when the state actually opens up the application. Right now, it's just a blank screen. We're going to send you out an email just after 9 Monday. It may be 9:30, hopefully not, but it may be 10 a.m. because we don't send out that link until we know that the state's website is not crashing. So it's not going to do anything if we send it out to you at 9 and you go to it and it just spools. Nothing happens. So we'll wait 9:30. It's working. Send it out to you. So that way, when you click on that link, it opens up. You can apply and be successful.
All right, last question is going to a Zoom user that has their hand raised. I am going to ask you to unmute.
I was gonna ask how many students to like a class, like how many students in a class?
Yeah, so at Crash Course, our classroom is done online. So you're not with other students here, at home or at school or wherever you find it convenient. Behind the wheel, you are typically just going to be in the car with an instructor and another student. It could be up to 2 other students, but typically it's just 3 people in the vehicle, an instructor, yourself, and 1 other student. All right. I think that wrapped up all the questions. So don't apply a Crash Course yet until Monday. If not, where do we apply to get the classroom code? Yep. So you are not applying. You're not enrolling in Crash Course until Monday after you are approved for the grant. So just look out for a text message from us. Know when you get that text message, you can have confidence that the application is working. And we are here to assist you. Marissa's going to go ahead and drop in the chat our contact information one more time, that USDA link one more time so you can see the income chart. If you already know you qualify for free or reduced lunch, you can kind of bypass that. And yeah, we are here to help you guys through this entire process. We know it's a lot of steps. Driver's ed is a lot of complexity. So, but we're here for it. We've been doing this for 13 years, and we're excited for this and to help you guys through this process. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. My name is Jeremy. My direct line is going to be 414-255-8700, extension 101. That's my desk phone, cell phone, 414-216-1792. You don't apply anywhere right now, Mackenzie. You're applying on Monday when the state application opens up. But thank you all again for your time, and we look forward to working with you through this journey from going from no driver's license to having a driver's license and knowing how to drive correctly. So we'll be in contact. You guys have a beautiful Saturday and a great weekend. Enjoy this weather. Right. We are going to put the replay up for folks.